thanks for staying tuned to the Front Burners. This is the news analysis segment. Let's take a look at some stories. Well, the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NEITI, says the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAAC, disbursed 15.26 trillion naira to the federal, state, and local governments in 2024. NEITI attributed the surge to the federal government's fiscal reform policies, particularly the removal of petrol subsidy and foreign exchange rate adjustments, which the agency says has had significant impact on oil revenue remittances. So, presenting the NEITI FAAC quarterly review on Tuesday, Ojugbunaya, the agency's executive secretary, said the analysis was carried out in the context of significant fiscal reforms that transformed the revenue landscape, with a particular focus on the effect of subsidy removal on both national and subnational finances. But the report's objective is to assess the sustainability of the federal and state governments borrowing to fund their projects and programs, as well as the implications of natural resource dependence, particularly for states benefiting from the 13% derivation from oil and gas. First of all, one thing about the report is that revenue has increased. So what was shared for 2024, 15.26 trillion naira among federal, state, and local governments. Quite a lot improvement in revenue generation for Nigeria. And the Secretary of NEITI FAAC says that this is attributed to the fiscal reforms that the president has made. First of all, the removal of oil subsidy, and then the reforms that have happened regarding exchange rate. And then they're assessing the sustainability of states' borrowing and the dependence of on natural resource by those states that are receiving 30% derivation. It's good news that revenue has improved, but I think the first question that every Nigerian wants to ask is, since revenue improved, what projects now are we using the revenue for? You know, there was a time there was windfall, and so we're told that even our reserve increased, but within that period of the windfall, we didn't really see significant progress that was made in infrastructure and development. Now revenue is improved. What are we doing with it, Doc?
Well, I think there are some few things that needs to excite Nigerians, and that is also looking at it, looking at the trend analysis, that if in 2022 you generated about 9 trillion, and in 2023 you did 10 trillion, and now in 2024 you're doing 15 trillion. It means that a lot has actually happened. And of course, the credit goes to Mr. President, just as NEITI has said, that these are all arising from the various reforms that the government has put in place within this period of time, especially the floating of the naira, and then, of course, the removal of the subsidy to petrol. Now, that said, it's able to look at the details and the data itself that NEITI presented. Now, if you look at it, you find that state earning between 2023 and 2024 increased significantly by 66%.
62.
Okay, 62%. Then the local government by over 40%. Federal government about 24% in terms of increase from the previous year. Now you also see that the states had earned more than the Federation itself, with the states earning over 5.8 trillion and the Federation earning 4.9 trillion. And the local government earning about 3 trillion. Now, when you put this figure together between the state and local government, you find that bulk of the nation money actually is in the subnational. And the president has been saying this for quite a time. And many of us as Nigerians, all we look at is Abuja, because we think that all the money is in Abuja, but the money is actually in the states. The question is, what significant changes are we seeing happening in the states and at the local governments, especially with this increase? And I think this is where Nigerians need to actually turn their attention to both the states and the local government to see what are we doing with these resources that is flowing in. Now, if you even put the figure a little, stretch it a little further, you see top states earning between Lagos, Delta, Rivers, and Akwa Ibom. So much money has gone into this place. Delta is even occupying a second position, 450 billion from Federation Accounts. Can we see in Delta State how this money is touching the life of the average individual? Because what we see happen in the state is that feuds, crisis, party politics tend to overshadow what comes to them. Because after all, nobody is abusing state governor for not doing well. All the insults and the abuse goes to Mr. President, who makes life very difficult for the people. And I think this is where people must begin to open their eyes and look at what we're doing with the resource that's coming to the states and the local governments.
Yes, when we look at the way the money is being shared and the percentages that goes to each tier of government. So that's why a program like this is very good, because it's an eye-opener for a lot of Nigerians who perhaps may not even be aware of who gets what or what tier of government gets what. The assumption for a lot of Nigerians is that because it's federal government and because the center controls most areas and has more powers for a lot of areas, so the center has more money. And so they believe it's the responsibility of the center to make sure that there's development. But like you asked the question, what are the states doing? For the states that are receiving 13% derivation, apart from a few of them, that when you visit those states, you could see one project here, maybe River State, Delta State, some part of Delta State, and it also depends on the administration, because some administration have been able to do well with the derivation, and you can say, yes, this is an oil-producing state. If you go to some other states, like Ondo states, and they tell you this is an oil-producing state that receives 13% derivation, if you go to a place like Bayelsa, and even taking a look at all of these states, with the amount of money that they receive, you just want to look at it as it's almost like free money at the end of the day. Now, when we're talking about Lagos State, it sometimes seems like maybe Lagos State has certain advantages that other states don't have. But the reality of the matter is that Lagos State created their advantage. This is an advantage that nature bestowed on these states that they should have been able to use to significantly improve lives of people. But because the state's governors understand that there is a knowledge deficit, the people don't really understand that states are receiving lots of money and that states also have a crucial role to play when it comes to development. So everybody calls or tries to hold the federal accountable, and they don't bother about the states. Because even at the state level, sometimes you also find that the governors are pointing the attention of the people to the federal just to deflect away from them. When allocations are not received, you hear them complain. When revenue is short, you hear them complain. Now that revenue has increased, they have not come out to say, we are receiving more money, so now we can do much more. So it's more like people capitalizing on the ignorance of others to just not attend to their duty as it should be. And that's why we do not have the demand for accountability much from the states and even the local government. Apart from certain states where you find the local government functional, if you travel to many states in Nigeria and you visit local government, sometimes you tend to think that it's just a place that nobody comes to, because many of the offices are shut. You don't even find workers there. If you have a local government job, it's a free job. Go do your private business. Once in a while, come to the office, except for a few states and few local governments in those states. So it's because over time, people have been thinking that the federal government has more money, so therefore, more responsibility falls on the federal government to ensure that there is infrastructure development and there is also development of other sectors. But if this information now comes to the consciousness of Nigerians and people begin to change their minds to say, if the state governments are receiving much money, to whom much is given, much also should be expected.
Okay, I'm not surprised that this is the direction that this conversation will go. And first of all, truth to be said, it's high time we begin to, tug at the garment of the state government. Now look, where are you taking the people of your state? If you look at the structure of Nigeria very well, everybody waits for the budget of the federal government, sometimes including state governments, sometimes including, most especially private investors. They are waiting for the budget of the federal government. They want to know what ministry, department, or agency is, going away with a larger chunk of the budget for 2 consecutive years. Now it has been the Nigerian military, though the education and health sector too has been coming in, weighing in recently, but it has not met the benchmark of the World Health Organization and the Global Education Program by the WHO and the United Nations. So, for the state, on whose table does the buck fall to hold the government of the state responsible? We have institutional roles that are to be played by the House of Assembly of the state. We also have individual roles or civil society organization roles that are to be played in those specific states. So let's even analyze the responsibilities of these persons that were to even hold the state to account. Apart from Kano state government that has a replication of the Economics and Financial Crimes Commission's body at the state level, I don't think there is any other state in Nigeria that has that, not even Lagos, to hold the government of the state accountable. Corruption, when it comes to activities of misappropriating public funds. Even though we have an argument that, it belongs to the state government, so it cannot fight against the state government that appointed the heads of those investigating agencies at the state level. However, they prosecute other state governors who had left. I'm talking about Kano, because the Ganduje used that to prosecute the former CBN governor Lamido. Sanusi Lamido. So, which of the states in Nigeria has a replication of EFCC at the state level? If we look at institutional responsibilities, let's even come to the House of Assembly of the state. Is it the House of Assembly of the state in Nigerian politics that has almost 90% of the legislators in the House belonging to the same political party, as if no other political party exists in the state? Or is it the local...
And it's fast becoming a trend.
Yeah, no, it is not even a trend. Is it the local government authorities that will now challenge the authority of the state governors? I remember vividly during the administration of Ralph Aregbesola, a local government chairman challenged him about the disbursement of funds to local government, challenged the state government in Osun State. And that was the last we heard about it. Recently in Ogun State, too. That is the current chief executive of the state, too, is there. A local government chairman challenged his authority by way of disbursing the local government funds to different local governments and claimed that he has not received, for a specified period of time, allocation to that local government, and that what even the amount even they receive is not equivalent when we add it together with the totality of the local government that exists in the state. There is no correlation. When they made those complaints, they left them to the wolves.